The Croneo region was
So,
created
you've
by
picked your
Dr.
starter?
Eevee. Link
Great.
to channel
That'll
description
be
below.
5,000
Please check them
Poké
on your own
dollars,
time.
What's that? It's out of your price
You
range?
want to see this
You didn't
whole
expect
series
to have to
yourself?
pay?
Don't watch
What do you
me.
think this is?
Go watch on
Professor
your own
Barkley's
time.
free
Please, I
Pokémon giveaway?
insist.
You can't expect to get things for free, you know. So either pay the
Sure
price
I
or
can.
get
This is the
Professor
Pokemon
Barkley's
world.
site.
We have free health care. Except for one single Pokemon Center in Pokemon
Hi,
Sun and
welcome
Blue.
back to the
Sun and
Croneo
Moon.
region. So,
In which
last time
case,
we left on a
that was
cliffhanger.
owned by the bad
As
guys
you
team,
saw,
Team Skull,
if you didn't
and it was
watch
10
the last
cents, who
video,
cares?
I recommend doing so. The link will be in the description below. But luckily, if you refuse Barkley's premium starters, an ally throughout the game, known as Brook, will give you some bootleg starters. They're a bit
Bootleg
different
starters?
from the premium trio. For one, they're all 2-stage. Another difference is that you evolve them via friendship, and all their final evolutions are monotyped. Oh, and they're not a grass, fire, water trio. They're a fighting, flying, rock trio.
Hey,
Those
that
three
works,
types were
actually.
chosen because
Nice.
that is a type triangle that operates in the
When the
exact
same logic
manner
as fire,
as
water, grass.
fire, and water, without there being any overlaps of those types. Let's
That
get into
works.
them.
That makes a lot of
Meet
sense.
Occat, Falcoth, and Calcifera. I want
These
their
are
types
nice
to be
designs.
very clear just by looking at them. Occats will be clearer upon evolution.
Occat, I believe, is going to be the fighting type. Falcoth, that one's
also,
easy.
if you're wondering how they tie into the personality triangle, Occat is cool,
And
Falcoth is
Calfrere,
funny,
which
and
whatever's left.
Calcifera is cute.
Brain
First
farts.
up, we have Occat, the fighting type starter.
Yeah, I have a
commissioned
feeling with that
5
sort of
fake mons
pose.
are on Instagram for this art again. The name comes from occult and cat. Anyways, Occat is based on a cat sea. But what is it? It's a fairy
Black
creature
cat.
from Celtic mythology,
Oh?
specifically in the Scottish Highlands, which is essentially a large black cat with a white patch on its chest. Now, because I
Alright,
wanted
see
each
some of those in
starter
real life,
to
I
be a
believe.
color resembling their type, I had to make Occat have more of a tortoiseshell coloration. Kind of like my cat, Pebbles, but at
It's a
least
cute
I made
cat.
the shiny black to be more in line with the cat
That
shape.
works.
Also, I'm not sure
I
if
see
it's
it.
pronounced cat she, cat C, cat Sith. I don't know.
Whatever.
I'll probably alternate on pronunciations. I apologize. Also, the shinies in this starter trio reference their design origin as opposed to secondary types, since they don't
I'm cool
have
with that. That's
secondary
cool.
types. I recommend looking up the Catchy, as it's such an interesting idea to base a Pokemon on. I might actually revisit it and use some of its other aspects in another cat Pokemon I have in
Ooh,
the pipeline.
another
that also
region for
happens to be
another
fighting
variant
type.
for
It'll be
Meowth.
different, I swear. The relevant ideas
Sure.
I have for this Pokemon are the connections to witches and the occult. Legend has it that the cat Sith was actually a
Sort of like
shape-shifting
Delphox
witch,
in
which
the
is why I
being.
wanted to make
Nice,
the tail
I'm
look
cool
like
with
a
that.
broomstick. As for the occult, a ceremony which involved burning the bodies of cats for 4 days and 4 nights could be performed to summon a demonic cat she called
And then we
Baby,
created the Millennium
who
items
grant
and
the
wait,
wish
wrong
of
universe.
Anyone who took part in the ceremony. Yeah, that's a grim thing to reference in a Pokemon concept. but I'm
Yeah,
sure
but it'll
there's
be the first
worse out there.
time.
To reference this, I gave it big ears. So I've given reasons for it to be many types, but not fighting. So why is it fighting type? Well, it is believed that this fey creature was inspired by either wild cats or Keller's cats, which are a hybrid species of wild cats and domesticated cats. Also, I must state that wild cats and feral cats are 2 different things. But wild and feral are actually synonyms with
Pretty much,
ferociousness.
yeah.
So it's a pun. It's a wild cat that's a wild cat. However,
Okay,
I'm making it a
that's
special
good, I
chapter
like
to
that.
reference its spiritual origin. This was a fairly deep design, and I'm quite proud of it. Falco
I would
is
be
next,
too. That's
the
a very
flying
good
type
design.
starter. I commissioned
That was
my
in flying
partner,
type, it would've,
Decay Fake
like,
Mon,
lost my
on
mind. That was
Instagram
the
for this
friggin' rock
art.
type.
Anyways, the
Still
name
gonna be the
comes
last
from
one.
Falcon, Galf, which is the Scottish Gaelic word for wind, and Oath, which will become clearer when I discuss more of the design origin. As you can see, it's blue. Sort of light blue, almost
Dabba dee
periwinkle.
dabba die.
This is because those colours tend to represent the flying type.
The face
It's a
reminds
baby
me of
peregrine
Nebby.
Falcon. They're fairly common around Scotland.
I
so
thought
this
that
makes
the
sense.
first one looks
It's
like it didn't
funny
have
because it
eyes
has
for a
an
second, or
ego,
they've been
hence
stitched
why it
out.
looks smug. But
creepy.
why? Well, I wanted it to be more than just a peregrine.
Now, come on, look at the eyeballs on the
Despite
one on the right. It
concept
looks
art
kind of
I
fishy.
made just being a peregrine. Yes, I know I'm bad at art. Why do you think I commission people? I decided
You
to
could
find
still do it better
mythology
than me, at
related
least
to
you're
this
paying
bird,
people, that's
and
what
I found
matters.
in Native American culture, falcons were said to live in the upper world, with the stars, the sun, and the moon. Hence the space motif, with its face and beak tying in with these celestial bodies. The gold in its design is a reference to deities, since falcons were seen as messengers of the gods, since they can travel between the upper world and ours. They are even believed to rule the upper world. So that's why
cool. I
they're
like
sort of
that.
a deity
A little bit of lore
because
there.
It's a messenger of the gods that lives with them. That's why it's smug. It believes it deserves praise, Cusco style. Also, the oath part
Or
of its
Hermes.
name is because there is an oath to deliver, as well as believing it's above everyone else to the point where they need to swear an oath to it. As for why the deity connotations,
But to be fair, in
are
Hermes'
gold
case, he literally
specifically,
was a god,
it's
just had a bit of an
because gold
ego
symbolizes
to him.
wealth and luxury, something which those in power, such as emperors or deities in myth, would have in abundance. This is why the shiny is yellow, to reference this. And because having multiple gold elements would clash, in my opinion, we have to settle for second best, silver, or maybe even better
Works
with
for me.
platinum. I think you'll decide about that. The pink in its shine
I think it looks
is
good
still
all
kinda
the same.
spacey, but in a different way. To round off this trio, we have Calcifera, the rock-type starter. I also commissioned my partner, Decay. The name comes from calcite, which is a kind of calcium carbonate, and Conchifera, which is the phylum of mollusk.
This is a two-stage evolution. This next stage better be it coming out of its shell.
Of crystals, as
I don't
they
mean that
would
as a
be
pun, I mean that literally.
theoretical way to bridge the gap between the rock type and a possible animal that could produce crystals. Naturally, I found out mollusks produce crystals, which makes sense because what else would their trails be made of? After researching
Slime.
which mollusks would work for the design, I thought of the Conchifera phylum, and I immediately thought of a clam that was a bit afraid, but then it would come out of its shell, quite literally, once shown love and affection and friendship.
I mean, it's kind of like
decided
clam
on a clam
pearl in a way, but it
specifically
works.
so its eyes could peek out. As
The
I thought
Pokemon's
it
done
was
just about
very
everything.
adorable.
I'm gonna make
Also,
some
it's brown
comparisons.
because
If you
of
don't
its
like that,
reflection. The
I'm
shine is
sorry.
Pink, which
I don't know
I'll
what to tell you.
explain when it evolves. As I said before, you have to attain high friendship with these three Pokemon to get their evolutions. Let's see what they are. Firstly,
I can
there's
see
the
there being a
evolution
challenge
of
when we're
Cat.
using these three
Lucifer.
evolutions.
The name
Well,
comes from Lucifer,
very nice
which
design
is
of this
a
thing. I
Native
like how you did
American
the witch's hat with the
spirit.
ears.
Lucifer,
Looks very
aka
good.
the devil, and was also the name of the cat from Cinderella. Mew, which is onomatopoeia for the sound a cat makes, and
Not to
Fur,
mention the legendary
which is what
Pokemon.
some cats are covered in. Now it's a witch! Or is it? Either way, it's been condemned and now fighting for its life, due to it being based
It's a
on
great
witches
design.
and witch trials, hence the feminine appearance. A lot of the witch trials were baked in societal misogyny of the time. It's also based on cats' type of superstition as well. Witches have many associations.
I'm not thrilled with the
with
Salem
cats
part
in
of my
particular,
state, let's just
Catshia
say.
in particular. Witch trials have
Never
in
even
Scotland
been there
too,
myself.
due to
Well,
being
that
a
has
lot
nothing
of
to do with the
superstition there.
rituals.
Heck,
I've
King
just,
James
I've never
VI
been there, period.
rewrote the Bible to have emphasis on condemning witches. This does
How
tie into the fire
convenient.
elements,
Rewriting a
with
piece of
burning witches
important
at the
history,
stake,
or at
as well
least
as burning the bodies
history
of
to a
cats
lot of
for 4 days
people,
and
to
4
suit
nights
your
for that
needs.
ritual. The white tuft of
It's a good thing that would never happen again in
chest
history.
Is now a dress,
Ugh.
which is intended to
I
evoke
hate this
the imagery
timeline.
of said stakes. Other witch elements here manifest themselves as the big ears from before, now making the shape of a witch's hat.
Love that
The
design.
broomstick
It looks
tail also
perfect.
has elements of a cornhusk witch doll, which is a Native American doll which are believed to be magical charms which protect homes and livestock. Which very
Sort of
much
similar to
fit
voodoo, but
into
not quite the same.
Inviting Catchy into your home and leaving it some milk. That was believed to cause blessing for the household. And
I
if
wouldn't
you
mind
didn't do
taking
that,
this
that
one
was
as my
believed to
starter,
cause
honestly,
curse.
even without
Witch
the fire
dolls
type.
are also very similar.
It just looks
to
that dang
the
good, and I love
Samhain
me a good
Shuck
fighting
dolls,
type.
which were used in pagan and Celtic cultures for similar regions, specifically during Samhain, which is the end of the harvest season, which occurs between the 31st of October and the 1st of November. Those two new elements which I discussed were expansions of Arkat's prominent features, and were actually Kai's idea, and they're amazing ideas, and I think he really outdid himself. Time for the evolution
Agreed.
of Falco.
That is
Flower
an amazing
Grin.
design
Name
with the
comes
bird
from
coming
Gale,
on full
a very
display
strong
with
wind,
the
and
crown thing on
Peregrine,
its
which is
head.
now the adult form of a peregrine falcon. It's essentially got the same
looks
sort of design
fantastic.
inspiration and philosophy as its previous form, but now it's got a head crest that looks like a crown, and it also
And
has
it
some
looks
stars, which
lazy
I
to the
love.
god bit a
I like
bit
to
more.
think Galagrin is a more humble deity due to its good relationship with humans built over time, with the species
Agreed,
history
I
of
could see
being
it.
messengers, as well as its evolution method literally being friendship based.
Yeah, it works into it. They think you're a bit more worthy of a godly
art,
presence.
Because how would I be able to show this? is the fact that peregrines are the fastest animal on the planet, which is why I'm guessing they were believed to be nesting.
But is it as fast as a Gland Meow?
And stat-wise, Gallagher
Sorry,
is one
Perugly.
of the fastest non-legendary, non-mega
backwards.
Pokemon because of this. Heck, in the Croneo
Perugly
region
is faster
the
than
fastest
Latios and Latios because
non-legendary
Game
Pokemon.
Freak said
The
so.
justification in lore is that
That's it.
Gallagher has mastered flight, just in general. Hence why it is for sure flying type, not just because it's a bird. Finally, we have the evolution to Calcifera.
Okay, so
Gastronite.
the design
The
for...
name comes from
This reminds
gastropod,
me of the
which is
freaking
another
Valentine's
word
Day
for
episode of
snail type,
SpongeBob.
and Aragonite, which is a kind of crystal mollusk juice. As promised, it is now out of its shell. But why is it a snail? Firstly, I feel this makes for a better thematic design evolution than the other way around with coming
I
out
could
of
see
its
it,
shell.
yeah.
Secondly,
Coming in and out of the
snails can be
shell,
found
or
in
out and
Scotland.
in.
And
No,
thirdly,
is it the first
as I
time?
said, mollusks produce crystals, hence a rock-type snail. But I can't just do another rock-type snail without giving it some distinct themes to justify its existence.
So I made it
decided
a
to dig
woman.
deeper to see what snails symbolize. Of course, you get wisdom and patience and all that, but you also get fertility? Okay, I could work with this.
So that's why
I might
it's
need to dial
pink?
it back a bit for a kid's game. I know love and fertility are two different things, but they are related, and since this is a rock
I
type
mean,
anyways,
yes.
what rocks symbolize love? Rose quartz, which symbolizes a bit more as well, but again, I think the connection works. So if I make the shiny
There.
pink like this crystal, since I want the main colors of the bootleg starters to represent their type as much as the premium starters do with theirs, I can make the snail themed around love. Hence the very strong heart motif. Speaking of color, some people may think Gastronite may resemble a certain boss from Conker's Bad Fur Day, but I think it looks more like chocolate, which is a common romantic gift.
I think so
fitting
too.
with the love
Again, I
theme.
thought
Shiny
Valentine's
does
Day
look
before
delicious
Great
too.
Mighty Pooh.
So, 15 Pokemon into the decks. What I have left to mention is signature moves and abilities.
Oh, we're gonna do signature
The
moves,
premium
okay.
starters, they all have moves that are functional clones of Flying Press, i.e. moves that
Okay.
can act as one of two types, depending on what does more damage. I love this idea. It's kind of broken. Giving it to the starters, I think, works out. Lineage
Fair
has
enough.
Blooming Swipe, which does either grass or fairy type damage. Fernox
That's
has
nice.
Hammer, which does either fire
It's a
or
good
steel
name.
type damage. And Plabmeral has
Egg Grenade,
which
what
does
else is it
either
gonna be?
water or poison type damage. All our physical moves, bar maybe Egg Grenade as it's a projectile. I haven't done proper balancing. I've only just come up with the concepts.
That
As
works for me,
bootlegs,
it's fine,
all
mate.
would have stab moves. Musifer would have Wild Spirit, which is a special move. Gallagher would
Probably
have
close
Fast
combats.
Return, which is a physical move.
Aerial
and
Ace, maybe?
Gastronite would have Crystal Passion, which would be a special move as well.
Which is
I'm not sure
incomplete.
what they
Oops.
would do, but I'd leave that up to your imaginations. All of them would be
Ah,
equivalent in
well.
strength.
Not
And
every
they will
video
be
can be
powerful
perfect.
At the expense
No one's
of
perfect
accuracy,
after
much
all.
like the new signature moves in Pokemon Legends Arceus. As for abilities, all the Grass, Fire, and Water starters have Overgrow, Blaze, and Torrent respectively, and that's still the case with
It's
mine.
standard.
But as for the Fighting, Flying, and Rock type ones, they don't have any equivalent, so I just made some. Underdog is the fighting equivalent, Updraft is the flying equivalent, and Calcify is the rock equivalent. So all
Works
the
for
starters
me.
have
I'm
an
game.
ability which increases their attack or special attack by 50% if they have less than or equal to a third of its maximum HP remaining, unless they have their hidden abilities. The
Hidden
bottom line
abilities.
has a new ability called Hay Fever. If the opponent
Nice name.
contacts this line, the defense and special defense stats on the opponent are lower.
That's
But
fine.
the new line has a new ability called Blacksmith. If the opponent contacts this line, the
That's
defense
nice.
and special defense stats of the line
Makes
are
sense
raised.
in theme.
The Platycroot line has
And this one
a
does
new
basically the
ability
same
called
with the
Naval
attack and
Spirit.
special
If
attack.
the opponent contacts this line, the attack and special attack stats
It makes
of
sense
the
for all the
Pokemon
theming of the
are
Pokemon. It
raised.
works.
Meanwhile, the Falco line has Aerolate. The other two bootleg starters have new clones of Aerolate I've introduced. So instead of normal type moves becoming flying, Militarize
They become
changes
fighting
normal
and
type
then
moves
rock.
into fighting, and Crystallize has normal type moves become rock. I'll also bring up egg groups because they're going to be important for this region's gimmick. I won't explain the gimmick yet, but it's best to mention the egg groups as we go along with the Pokemon. Bear in mind, I'll only use the final forms when discussing this, but anything that applies to a final form will apply to the whole line in this video.
Alright, I
All 4 of
gotcha.
the mammalian starters will be part of the field egg group, including
Alright,
abnormal.
I'm
Although
down.
Chronox doesn't have a secondary one, the other 3 do. Lineage
Okay.
also has the grass egg group for obvious reasons.
Yeah,
Flabberol
duh.
is part of Water 1 since it's semi-aquatic, and that's where
Fair
most
enough.
semi-aquatic
Semi-aquatic,
Pokemon
egg-laying
end up,
animal,
and
mammal
Lucifer
of
is a
action.
fairy due to being based on a mythological fairy creature.
I
Gallagher
mean,
is in
stretching a
flying
bit, but
because
sure.
it's a bird, and Gastronite is in mineral because of its crystalline nature. Also,
Okay, works for me.
before I forget, I need to mention who did the character designs that I've shown off. I forgot to mention this last time, but Professor Barkley
love that
was
design
done by
for the
Ondu
profile
Region
pic.
on Instagram, and Brooke has been done by Vic Works.
She looks
on
good
Instagram.
too.
But that's all of my starter Pokemon. Which one would you pick? Would you spend the $5
If
grand
we're
on
going
the
off
premium
of the
starters,
second
or
batch, I would
cheap
go
out
with the
on
fighting
bootleg
type
starters?
easily.
Comment
The
below
bootlegs
which one you'd have
are
on your
very
team,
nice. I can see them
and
have it be
yeah,
a
you can only
challenge
pick
run.
one out of these 6. Remember to
Yeah,
like,
one of
comment,
6,
subscribe,
that's
and share.
rough, but what are you
really
gonna
helps
do?
out, and
I can see the
click
rival
notification
character
bell
having the
to make sure
bootlegs while you
don't
have the
miss
traditional
next video
starters.
in this
Or vice
series. Check
versa.
out the Croneo Region's Instagram as well.
Or it'd be
I've
really
only
cool if you
really
can
been
mix and match
posting
during the games and just go with what
starters,
works and what doesn't, you know?
but I also
It could be random.
posted a sneak peek at what the legendaries may be, as well
Ooh.
as some other characters you may meet along your journey in the Croneo.
Well, we'll be seeing more
I'll
as we
see you
continue through the
next time when I
Croneo
cover the
region. Go check
Box
out
Art
Dr. Eevee for
Legendaries
your own time
in the
if you
Croneo
want to
region.
see it right now.
See you guys
Please, again, do not wait for the reactions. Wait, go and see the the full product on Dr. Eevee's challenge yourself. And then you can come back later if you wish to. I have no problems with that. But please, again, support the official release and what Dr. Eevee is doing right now. Apologies. But yeah, the full designs of these Pokemon, the bootlegs, do look genuinely incredible. And seeing how all they are 2 stages because they're bootlegs, and they still kind of fit into the whole fire, water, grass gimmick and all of that. And that does look legitimately good, and I do like how he made the trifecta work, even if not the sacred trifecta they usually go with. I apologize, that is not... Yeah. Anyway, yeah. I do like how he worked in that sort of thing, and they're all very unique in their own way. One's based off of the witch, and the flying bird, obviously, and the slug. That one, you don't see a lot of snail starters, so that one's definitely a bit more unique. And in this one case, you can technically have the regional bird as your starter Pokemon, which is also very nice. Nice little thing to have. All of them look great, and I did like, out of the 3 bootlegs, again, the fighting type was probably my favorite, just because of the witch's theme, and the, unfortunate bit of history behind it, but also that is a thing how it works. So the witch easily got the most amount of backstory, and so it probably won this one for that reason alone. I love my little bits of lore. Not to say that the god bird or the loving rock weren't great as well, but going off of personal preferences. So yeah, if I went with a challenge, was doing like a first playthrough, I'm gonna pick the fire star. But if I was doing the second, I think I might either choose the platypus or go with the fighting type. It's honestly a hard pick. I could see there again being challenge runs of this, like a Nuzlocke sort of thing, where you have to use only the bootleg or something like that. So that could be fun doing it itself. Also, that expands the capabilities of more playthroughs that have more variety to them. Like go with the secondary picks and sort of that stuff. Like, find what the most common one is, then you do the second most of that, and then the third most and all of that. Sadly, I feel like in this sort of thing, the rock type might be the least picked, just because it's a rock type, but what are you going to do sometimes? Someone has to be the bottom of the totem pole. But who knows, maybe it would be like so rarely picked because who has rock types that they might be more tempted to go for it, Pick the one that's like usually least gone for. Hey, I need a water or something. I should get one after I finish with this. Not an egg bomb though. Don't throw that at me, Perry. There's going to be so many people naming the platypus Perry. But yeah, what do you think was the best design of these bootleg Pokemon, and which do you think would be yours if you had to go with one of these starters? I may have picked mine, but you can still pick yours. I did like the more romance of going with the slug on that one too. You wouldn't think of a slug as romantic, but I mean, then again, it's a cliche that the French eat snails, and French is also considered a romantic place, so it works enough if you look at it from that angle too. It makes enough sense. and it's a unique way to go with a slug. Don't see a lot of romantic snails in media, so it's something. It's rather than being race car drivers. Or being race cars themselves. That's how the movie went. Anyway. But yeah. Nice episode to see and check out. And go check out Dr. Eevee's channel in your own time. Link to the channel in the description. I'm going to be saying that a lot, but I have to because it's early on and I want to make sure that you get it out. But yeah. Anyway, great designs. Which one do you think was your favorite? Which one would you go with if you had to pick any of these starters? And yeah, overall great stuff from Dr. Eevee and the people who helped make it these designs overall. Maybe an artist himself, but at least he's paying people to help out with their designs and stuff like that. So that's always awesome. If you're not an artist yourself, ask an artist. Assuming they're not a scammer, because there are scammers out there, you know. We do always be like, support the artists, and I do want to support the artists, but there's some bad eggs out there, so look out for those too, you know. I'm not saying anything against all artists, I'm just saying, you know, there's always a bad apple out there, so just be on the lookout. But yeah, anyway, enough about that. Right now, I guess I'll just wrap this up, so thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed, hope to see all of you next time. Later!